On May the 7th, 1969, Bill Herzog founded this great company we call Herzog. Many things have changed throughout all these years. Herzog has steadily grown from a small regional asphalt company to a large national construction company, railroad maintenance and transit services provider. Technology now plays a large role in all aspects of our business. Herzog is not just a contractor and service provider, but a technology-based company. Bill Herzog created a family culture in the company he founded. Bill's core values of safety, cost efficiency, quality, and integrity continue to be the driving force for Herzog's success. Bill is no longer with us today, but his legacy continues. Now we would like to share with you more about Bill Herzog and the incredible history of the company he founded.
When he came up, he lost his father at an early age. And actually, he was a brakeman on the railroad and got killed on the railroad. And very quickly after that, he lost his mother. So he effectively came up, I guess you could say he was an orphan, but he went to Brookfield, Missouri, and was raised there by a family that were not necessarily family, but they were very close.
The people that helped raise him, he looked after them. I mean, he made sure they didn't hurt for anything. He was always helping them do something, you know. Even though they just basically raised him for part of his life, a short time, but he felt like they was influential.
He was mowing lawns when he was 13 years old. He worked in a shoe store. He worked his way through college. It made him very self-reliant, and to the life of me, I can't figure out how he developed the character he did. But he had a drive like no one had ever seen to succeed and to do it the right way, and he loved his family.
He first went to work in the construction industry for Fred Dawkins and the Land and Construction Company in St. Joseph. He became the general superintendent and vice president at Land. Fred Dawkins had always promised Bill Herzog that when the time came that he would make him the president and chief operating officer of Land Construction Company.
He was misled, and when that did not happen, he had always had the desire to run a company. So if it wasn't going to be that one, he was going to start his own. We rented an office at 2020 South 4th Street in St. Joe, Missouri. The office was as big as my office. It was probably 20 by 25 feet. And I took a mop and I mopped the floor and I washed the windows. And 2 days later, I got a check for $24 for 16 hours work. So I was the first employee.
I was in the service at that time in Germany and was granted 89 days early out from my military obligation. So that allowed me to get back to the United States in July of 1969. Shortly after he had incorporated the business. I got home that day, spent one night, went to the office, and he told me I was going to South Missouri to run a construction project as a superintendent the next day. After a year or two, I got to be a superintendent. Traveled all over the state of Missouri doing paving jobs, and I just loved it. I remember getting up at, 4 o'clock every morning, putting on my boots, going out, getting road oil all over you and wash your hair with diesel fuel, whatever it took. But back then you were young, and there was a lot of us did that. And we ended up being the best there was. Well, he was not only my father, but I was fortunate enough to have him become my mentor in the business side of my life. So I've been doubly blessed in that regard.
Bill took a bunch of kids. I was 22 years old when I went to work for him. And he taught us. And he had the patience to teach us. He saw something in Al Landis. And when he advanced me and allowed me to advance in my career, I just hope, and I've always said, if there's a kid that walks through that door, I hope I got the same instincts and sense for the value of a person. Now granted, they got to be developed, But I hope I'm as good a people person as he was.
I always had a lot of respect for Bill, always had a lot of appreciation for the way he handled the management of the company and how he hired people and motivated them and such.
He was fair and supportive. Just a great guy to work for.
Bill Herzog's mottos or isms were, the person that never makes any mistakes is the person that never does anything, and don't go out to just do wrong things, but don't be afraid to make a mistake.
He was a master at chewing you out. He could do that like no one I had ever met before.
He had a temper occasionally. I went through 2 double thumpers with him, but at the end of the day, you feel like you're friends. You just like it didn't happen.
I was young. I didn't have a lot of experience, but Bill had faith that, as he did in everyone, that we could get the job done.
He was just excellent at delegating, and not just delegating a job, but the responsibility. And I think that's part of the reason people have excelled with him is that he allowed people to do that.
Bill's philosophies throughout the time was that you could advance in this organization as fast as you could train your replacement. Never to hinder anybody, but to help them achieve all they could. You didn't need to keep people under you to keep your job secure.
He was one of the guys that always had an encouraging word to say, or advice on some way to try to solve a problem, things of that nature. Always had a smile, just made you feel important.
Probably one of Bill's maybe weaknesses, if he had any, was he felt like a handshake was absolutely gold, and write it on a piece of paper, and this is the price he gave me, right? And yeah, this is it, and walk out of there, and it was a deal.
I would say, if I look back on skill sets that he taught me, he was one of the best people person I was ever around.
He said, if you don't enjoy going to work in the morning, you're probably in the wrong profession. And he said, if that is a problem, talk to your supervisor. See if they can put you somewhere else.
When he walked in a room, he lit it up almost. It was just like everybody there wanted to slide in and talk to him a little bit. He wasn't in there 2 minutes till a room full of people would all know Bill Herzog was in there.
If you didn't like Bill Herzog, there was something wrong with you.
Bill's favorite word was probity, and he used that in the Saturday morning meetings quite a bit. And as you looked around the room, you could tell no one knew what that word meant. And I don't remember who or which Saturday meeting was, but finally someone said, "Bill, what's that mean?" And he looked at everybody, looked you straight in the eye, and he said, "It's honesty and integrity."
Bill was a very honest man, and he required that of his employees. Bill was very forgiving. He would allow people a lot of latitude, but being dishonest and not telling the truth was not acceptable to him.
And I was the one that actually typed the little cards that he would carry in his wallet. The probity was actually one that I typed because that was one of his main words. But he would always, like once a month or something, he'd look in the dictionary and look up a word because he was trying to increase his vocabulary, even as smart and as wise as he was.
He would mention that word and explain what it meant and explain the importance of the Herzog family and what they meant to him. He was genuinely proud of every single one of us.
For me, I got adopted into that family. There's a lot of us that got adopted into that. So we have family values. And very simply, those values are this. What most people value is the environment they work in. And simply, I say to people as they're coming up through management, the one thing those people need to know is that you got their back. There was never a question in my mind that Bill Herzog had my back.
Bill was very safety conscious. For many, many years, Bill was the safety officer. Every accident report crossed his desk. It was that important to him. That, to me, just confirmed how much he cared about his people.
Bill just, I mean, he was all about safety. We would write safety letters and send out way back even before we had a lot of people, and he just, that was something he did. Even when we had a safety director, Bill just liked giving people a job. I mean, he expected you to do a good job and show up every day, but he was the first to reward you and compliment you. And you hear all the guys about when he would go to the field, how he, I mean, he just goes up and talks to everyone. It wasn't just that he'd go talk to the superintendent. I mean, I wasn't in the field, but you would hear that about him. And he was just a personable kind of guy, and he wanted everybody to thrive in life like he had done, because he started, you know, this company with little or nothing, and that was his big goal, to see how big it could actually become.
You know, if we tell somebody what we're going to do, we do it. If a piece of equipment breaks down, we get the piece of equipment fixed, you know. And Bill instilled, you know, do what you say you're going to do and be honest about it, you know.
I always thought of Bill as the quiet leader. He was a person that empowered people. I remember Bill saying to me, "We hired you, Norm, because we know you can do the job. Now just go out and do it the best you can." I never forget those words.
I don't think anybody ever realizes the energy that Bill brought to this company. I mean, if for some reason you could be out on a project, running a project, everything's going bad. It's just amazing how he could make you feel. And for some reason you just never felt like you wanted to let him down.
Bill had a way about him that when he spoke, people listened to him, they believed him, and they had a great deal of trust for the man. Fortunately, I got to know Bill. I realized that this guy was a leader. He was soft-spoken, but when he did speak, as I said, you listened to him. His words were full of wisdom, and his legacy continues, and it's almost like he's still here. He's still at the throttle. And a lot of that is because the folks that knew him won't let his legacy die. It will always continue.
Bill had several patents that he did on his own just because he would see a need for something. One of the first ones that he did was a tee glove for golf. I have one of the original prototypes here. And he just said he hated to reach in his pocket and pull out a golf tee to tee his ball up on the tee box. So he decided, I'm going to design a glove that holds golf tees so I never have to reach in my pocket for a tee. He did that patent.
He was an amazing inventor from an idea standpoint.
Well, one of the first things I was impressed with him, of course, he was asking about equipment and how to improve it, how to make it better, and was very quickly was asked to do things to equipment outside of the box, which was very exciting. A machine is designed to do something at one speed and one way to do it. Well, how can we make it do it faster and something else at the same time? So he got me thinking about every piece of equipment I ever went to, how could it be improved, made safer? And that was always his number one thing. He wanted to make it safer for the people running it. But right along with that, can we make it bigger? Can we make it faster? And that was, he always asked those questions when he was around. It was like, okay, the tamper's working okay today. Can we speed it up? You know, can we make it, bigger pumps, bigger motors, bigger whatever it would take to make something go faster?
He came up with several inventions. We patented some things, and I think that upbringing, it helped me too. I've been a co-inventor with some of the employees around here. We've come up with some stuff, and now I'm finding out my son's doing the same thing. So I think it's genetics maybe. I don't know where my dad got it, but anyway, we come up with a lot of different stuff around here. It's not just us. We got a lot of guys around here coming up with stuff, but that's part of the culture of the company too.
He loved to fly, and he wasn't near as good a pilot as he thought he was. I think he's the only pilot I know that probably survived 3 crashes, airplane crashes, and the one that got him was in an automobile.
He was going to race the next day, and which was the day of his accident. He was extremely excited about that race.
You know, that was just a race on a track and you've seen it where you go over these hills, you know, and you're flying. And Bill got really interested in that. They had built Bill a car so he could actually race in this thing.
They'd reworked his car. He said, I believe I can win that race. He said, I really do. He said, I got a feeling that I got the car this time, and he said, I think I can do it. And he said, I'd like to win one. So,
you know, unfortunately, Bill went over one of these humps in the road and came downside and injured himself pretty severely.
I got the word that Bill was injured. It was in June. It was actually right before my anniversary, so I was actually out of town. And when I heard it, it was just devastating.
And he was confined to a wheelchair.
He really wanted to walk again, and he did everything he could. He did stand at the racetrack in Kansas for the national anthem that year, and that was one of his big goals. And then we'd still go to the house and visit him and stuff when he got to where he couldn't come to the office. He was just, if he hadn't had the accident, heaven only knows he could still be with us knowing Bill.
That's just the way it was. He lived life to the fullest, he really did.
He had an impact on people's lives, mine being one, but everybody you interviewed, he impacted them in a very positive way. And if you take a look at who we are and what we are as an organization, when I said that I used to know everybody, we're over 2,000 employees strung all over this country. So the foundational values that he instilled in us, we are now in a generational change, and we're passing on, we're going to the 3rd generation now, of passing on the same skill sets that he passed on to us. On his gravestone, he asked us that there's only founder of Herzog Contracting Corp. That was Bill.
No, I miss Bill a lot. He was really something.
I can't tell you how great it was to have him being my father also.
He was a dynamic person is all I can say. Bill Herzog worried a lot about the downtime with an asphalt plant. So he got it in his head, I remember that railroad, he was thinking maintenance, yard maintenance, he was thinking about Quaker roads, all the little places around St. Joe. We could make some money doing that type of work. He just used these foremen, these lead guys, and make this money. So he went to a sale, seemed like it was in Oklahoma. He'd come back with a trunk totally full of the most antiquated old railroad tools, big old heavy tools, and he wanted to start railroad work. And I guess from that point on, the railroad grew this company way faster than the asphalt business.
As we started looking and we said, well, you know, if there's a broken cross tie, you know, it doesn't take a real genius to change a cross tie out, or a rail, or a broken joint bar. So we just started going around. You know, we're an agriculture, anywhere there was an industrial track, we were interested in working on it, and we did. Well, God forbid, we just thought we were offsetting overhead. We started making money at it. Well, what do we do next? Then we started expanding into new construction. So with the railroads today, their problems are our opportunities.
In 1977, when the first car topper was started, Herzog at that point had proven to the railroads that service was a very important part of our business, and we were going to do whatever it took.
The car topper, I mean, it launched this into the railroad business. I mean, it definitely did. We started unloading ties in, like say, in 1977, I believe it was, for the railroads, and that actually got us into the railroad business as of railroad service business.
When I first started, we had 35 car topper machines, and at our peak, we had 105 out working all across the country. So it grew rapidly.
We were getting into the railroad industry. We did the Tijuana trolley, which was a San Diego light rail between downtown San Diego and San Ysidro at the Tijuana border station. And that worked out well for us.
Our first transit job was in San Diego, California. I'll never forget, we were a successful bidder on this job. Once we did that, guess what? It gave us a resume, and then we expounded on that resume. Now, if you went and looked at ENR today, we will rank as far as transportation and transit in the top 10 in the country.
And probably one of the largest jobs that we have is the Mid-Coast project, which is an extension of these early San Diego trolley projects that
But the first job we got to work on was in Marshall, Texas, and it was by far the largest asphalt job we'd ever had. And it was tough for a while. You know, no one wanted us down there. At the same time, we got to where we could call any contractor, any subcontractor, and mention the name Bill Herzog, and we was able to get help.
In 1984, we had a tremendous flood that came through St. Joe. And the area that 19th and Garfield was in, a low-lying floodplain area. And when the waters came in, it really took everything out. I'll never forget the morning that we went down to the office after the flood had gone through, and we looked in the parking lot, and our mainframe computer was setting out in the parking lot.
Come to work that morning, I've always been one of the first morning people to come into the work, and you could tell something was really wrong, and that's when the flood had went through, and it was just enough to cover the top of the desk and like the first 2 drawers of a file cabinet, and man, was it a mess.
When the flood come down through our offices on Garfield, rushing water, it literally took things off the top of your desk.
I remember Bill, Stan, and Randy came down, and they looked at it, and they looked at everybody, and they said, "You guys can handle this. We know you can. We're going to go play golf." I think Bill decided to go play golf to make a point. To make the point that he trusted the people that worked for him, and he knew they could get the job done.
I think it actually brought us closer together because we all did join in together, and nobody really had a job description. You just all jumped in and did whatever needed to be done.
We needed a place to move to after the floods. We purchased the land on Riverside Road and decided to build the building there.
I actually was there for the groundbreaking, and I drove the backhoe out there. Bill Herzog, he didn't want to do it with a shovel, he wanted to do it with a backhoe. Showed him how to run the hoe, and he dug the first bit of dirt.
We met with one of the legends of off-road racing, Walker Evans, who we knew through competition, and Walker, we asked him to sell us a truck, which he did, and race in a series back in Wisconsin and Michigan called the Soda Series. Two guys came up and asked if they could meet with us sometime that afternoon after the race in our hauler. And we said sure, so we met. And they said, we're from General Motors and we've been watching you. We want to offer you a deal to be a GM factory-sponsored team next year. I said, well, there's one caveat. He said, well, what's that? He said, we want to supply the driver. We named the driver. I said, well, who's that? They said, well, it's a young driver named Jimmy Johnson. What we didn't know, and when we signed that contract, was that General Motors had told Jimmy to go out in and do all this interviewing and stuff. But keep in mind, we want you to give us a name of 2 or 3 teams that you think can take you to the next level. Well, Jimmy identified Herzog Racing as the only one, and he told them, I want to go forward with that team.
In January of 1992, we purchased SS Tech Company from Australia. They had a newer concept of technology for rail testing. They continued to use ultrasonic technology, however, they had a high-speed chase vehicle system with it. And as they were wanting to get out of the market, the railroads were wanting somebody to take that over, and we were approached and we made a deal with the SS Tech Company. Rail testing is the insurance policy, if you will, for the railroads, in that rails deteriorate as wear develops on them through the axle loadings and tonnage. The more tonnage is over a section of rail, the more apt it is to become worn and fatigued, therefore developing internal defects. And without the rail testing industry, the railroads would be forced to run on rails until they broke.
In '92, we put out our GPS ballast train, the first version. And we had been 2 years prior to that developing and designing and working that, so it had started earlier. But in '92, we had the first 2 trains go out on the UP Railroad. And this was the first train of the history of this design where it used the satellites, nobody on the ground, nobody opening doors manually. It was all done by computer, automated through a GPS control system to tell the train where it was at, where it needed to unload, open doors and unload rock between crossings, bridges, and other fixed objects on the railroad.
In 2001 was the very first high-speed train we built. We actually must have started building it back in, it might have been 1999 when we first started developing it. And it actually sat down here for almost 3 years. Finally, we offered a free 30-day demo in 2001, I think it was, to the UP Railroad. And we took it up there, did a dump for them. We finally got the right people out there from the UP. They watched it dump. They said, you're never getting this train back. Finally, we got the other railroads to come and watch it dump a few times. And we couldn't, from 2001 to probably 4 or 5, we could not build ballast trains fast enough.
You know, the Plus train was the next generation of our GPS train. The first generation only unloaded ballast to the outside of the track and had all the great features of skipping, no dump zones. But then people kept asking for the ability to unload inside the rail, between the track. So that's when the Plus train was developed. It had doors, sensors, and controls on it where it could unload to the outside or unload to the inside of the track. All this is done at 12 to 16 miles an hour with nobody on the ground, one operator in the cab of the locomotive, run it by computer.
We said, we'll make one, we think we can make one that can do this automatic. So we went and we developed the smart train.
Then the smart train come along, we've added sensors to the doors to know when there's rock unloading out of the cars. Gives us a much more capable of knowing what's going on and when. and we can respond to it. Again, we're trying to improve how accurate we are at crossings and switches and stuff and know what's going on.
In 1993, we were looking at the equipment maintenance and possibly the operations of the Tri-Rail commuter operation in South Florida. We won the project as Herzog Transit, and then we went on to win the next project, Trinity Railway Express, and we've been there for 20 years now.
We made the evolution. I always like to say, if you can build it, you can maintain it. Well, we went from just being a builder to a maintainer, and guess what? It's not that big a quantum leap to go operational. Well, that's where Herzog Transit Services, Inc. comes in, that we operate passenger system, operate them, maintain them, dispatch them. So we tend to be, in our expansion, we're an extension of what we do. You know, our organic growth, to the point you call it organic, is because we see that next step to where we can go in and do something.
The growth of Herzog Transit Services from 1993 to where we sit today has been amazing. We started out with the one project, and as I sit here today, we have 12 projects. And the reason that we have 12 projects is because of the values that Bill Herzog instilled in the entire team.
In 2000, the railroad again came to us and asked for a better way for material distribution on the railroad, to move and distribute materials, pick up old scrap iron. Other than a car topper sitting on top of a gondola car, they wanted something that would be faster and more efficient. So we started looking at ways to gantry mount a crane, a backhoe, an excavator on top of some cars. We went out and purchased what they call a container consist, load-sided cars that shipping containers would sit down in, modified that, put running rails on it, built a gantry, took the top half of an excavator, mounted it, and then get the operator down low enough that was closer to the ground, he could see what he was doing better, and he would be able to distribute material quicker or pick stuff up and clean up scrap with a magnet or do different things much faster. Again, another application of the railroad coming to Herzog looking for a design, a piece of equipment. They asked us to look at designing another way to unload ribbon rail off of the rail trains rather than using the old pullers, pusher cars that they had at the time. But the goal from the very beginning was to make this thing roadable. So the job was done, we could get off at a road crossing and go to the next job and not be towed by the train.
The rum truck, no one touches the rail. It's got a mechanical crane, reaches up, gets the rail, pulls the rail into their threader boxes. The threader boxes actually are computerized, so it puts it out at the exact same speed as the train's moving forward. In 2008, we decided it was time to build a state-of-the-art railcar facility. It kind of evolved because of the ballast trains. We was building so many ballast trains, we needed more space. We do probably 90% of our business at this railcar shop here in St. Joe is our own ballast cars that we maintain, build, and we build our own equipment. We build our own MPMs there. The other, say, 10-20% is outside customer cars for other private-owned car companies. Basically, it could be anything. It could be from a grain car to a flatbed car, flats, anything. We just maintain them, do the running repairs, bring them in, do that, kick them back out.
2011, Herzog Technologies joined the Herzog family, from traditional wayside signaling and communication systems to cutting-edge solutions. Herzog Technologies understands technology and its importance to the rail industry. As constructors, we build high-profile commuter and freight systems. As maintainers, we support the movement of thousands of trains and millions of passengers annually. As technologists, we perform a variety of functions, from positive train control integration and operations to GIS surveys to custom software development. As innovators, we empower our R&D group to create technology with the goal of transforming how railroads operate. One of the things that gives me such confidence in the future of our company is the way we embrace technology, using it as a tool to creatively solve problems. Whether custom software or hardware solutions, we strive to fill operational needs that face the industry. One example of our success is where we've taken PTC hosting, a service which started out as a solution to an internal challenge as we work to help the railroads fulfill the FRA's PTC mandate. We established an operations center with dedicated, around-the-clock technical support for our own back-office efforts. As individual railroads each started creating their own back office, which is costly and takes the focus away from revenue train operations, we saw an opportunity to scale up our solution and provide railroads with a secure, centralized, cloud-based service. Herzog's Support Operations Center integrates specialized systems, PTC software, and highly available architecture in one location, where we provide all systems monitoring, tracking, and root cause analysis for tenant railroads across the country.
A conveyor train is used to stockpile rock at road crossings, in sidings where they want large amounts of rock stockpiled for future developments. The railroad again came to us and said, we need a way to stockpile rock in curves. The present industry out there, nobody could unload in a curve. So we decided, okay, this is a project that we can take on, and we have developed our ACT unloading train, conveyor train, and it can unload in curves up to 13 degrees and in super elevation. There has no limits to where it can unload up to 2,000 tons an hour.
And we have reduced the size of the test equipment in our big trucks and put it into the Brutus size vehicle. It is designated for yard testing. The opportunity there is the little vehicle is more apt to be able to go down the multiple tracks in a rail yard without interfering with cars on either side of the tracks, and allowing the high production vehicles out on the main line to continue out on the main line, finding defects to prevent derailments.
Our team of constructors and our team of Herzog Transit Services, which was all led by Al Landis and other of our project management people, very much in depth with the city of Kansas City, and I think are very highly appreciative of what we were able to bring to the table to help them build a successful starter system.
With the introduction of other technologies, such as the Kansas City streetcar. There's a renaissance going on in America. People have a love for streetcars. They don't carry the masses that commuter rail and heavy rail technology does, but in its own way, it's a special niche in the transportation industry that is making a huge comeback. So we are now not just recognized as the commuter rail guys. We've expanded that to the point that people look at us and consider us for other projects that encompass a different technology. And I have never seen so much excitement generated because of the introduction of the streetcar. The people could not wait for this day.
As with any growing and thriving organization, we have experienced numerous changes since 2016. Let's take a moment to share the journey to where we are today. In 2019, the City of St. Joseph honored Herzog with a key to the city as we kicked off our 50th year in business. In the weeks that followed, members of our professional family gathered at various events across the country to celebrate this incredible milestone. 2019 was a monumental year for Herzog. While the beginning of the year was one of celebration, the middle of 2019 dealt us a difficult hand as we lost our longtime leader and friend, Stan Herzog. However, with his blessing and in alignment with his father's desire for there to always be a Herzog, we ended 2019 with a key employee purchase of the company. Today, we are an employee-owned organization focused on delivering unparalleled service to those whom we serve as we focus on ensuring that there will always be a Herzog. Working for Herzog is more than a job, more than a career. For so many of us, it's a way of life. It is about family, our professional family. It is about excellence and our journey to excellence. Today, it is my honor to welcome you, the newest members of our professional family, to our journey to excellence. Herzog was founded in 1969 by Bill Herzog. For more than half a century, we have been getting the job done. No matter the job, no matter the challenge. At Herzog, we believe that leaders create culture, culture creates behaviors, and behaviors drive outcomes. The secret to Herzog's success has been our culture, a culture that produces exceptional service and elite outcomes. That culture, the Herzog culture, is a direct result of Bill Herzog's leadership and passion for innovation. Bill loved a good challenge, and he loved empowering and encouraging those around him to be better, to be more efficient, and most importantly, to be safer. We are proud innovators. We strive to bring productive discomfort to the industries we serve. We drive innovation through the convergence of mechanical automation and technology. There are many companies that are good. There are a few companies that are great. But it is rare to find a company that is elite. Our mission is to fulfill Bill's dream that there will always be a Herzog. To do that, we can't simply be good or even great. We have to be elite. Organizations are not elite. The people who make up organizations are elite. Therefore, our journey to excellence is a personal journey first and an organizational journey second. Simply stated, Herzog cannot become what we collectively are not. To be a meaningful and productive member of our professional family, you must be committed to personal growth, pursuing excellence, and protecting the culture that will lead us to becoming an elite organization. The fact that you are watching this video means that someone in our professional family believes in you, your potential, and your future here at Herzog. They believe that you will help us be better today than we were yesterday and better tomorrow than we were today. This journey begins by understanding the Herzog culture. So let's begin with the Herzog Culture Playbook. The Herzog Culture Playbook is the foundation of the beliefs, behaviors, and outcomes that drive our daily actions. The cultural beliefs outlined in the playbook are a required set of standards that every team, division, department, and working group use here at Herzog. Your starting point for professional success at Herzog is to study, understand, and activate the beliefs, behaviors, and outcomes within our playbook. Within the first 90 days of starting your new role, you will attend an R-Factor class, which will teach you how to develop the mindset and the skill set necessary to deliver our desired outcomes. To better understand the playbook, let's highlight the 4 foundational beliefs, 12 respective behaviors, and 4 desired outcomes. Safety without compromise. The first and foremost cultural belief at Herzog is safety without compromise. Nothing will ever be more important than the outcome that we take care of each other. Every passenger, every client, every partner, and every colleague goes home safely every day. The 3 key behaviors that drive this belief are own your 20 square feet, know the work, no shortcuts, no exceptions, and if you see something, say something. We all have the responsibility to raise our hand and ask a question if we are unclear about anything related to a project, piece of equipment, or method for completing the work. Every member of this organization is responsible for safety and ensuring that we take care of each other. Power of the team. Our second cultural belief is the power of the team. The outcome delivered is that we make each other better. The three key behaviors that drive this belief are: bring the best version of yourself every day, invest the time to listen and communicate, and ask for help and give help. We will be the best versions of ourselves if we are willing to invest the time to listen, communicate, and understand others' perspectives and ideas. Teams are only as strong as the people who comprise them, so we must be willing to ask for help, and we all have a responsibility to give help when asked. Passion for the customer. Our third cultural belief is a passion for the customer. The outcome delivered is an exceptional customer experience. The three key behaviors that drive this belief are: understand the customer's needs and priorities, serve the customer or support someone who does, take responsibility for what you do and how it impacts the customer. Our greatest innovations exist because of a customer need. Their needs are our opportunities. When our customers face a challenge, we want them to think of Herzog as the problem-solving partner that will get the job done. We do not all serve a customer directly, but we all have the responsibility to support someone who does serve our customers. We will only treat our customers as good as we treat our colleagues. So how we treat each other will have a direct impact on how we treat our customers. Every member of our professional family is expected to take responsibility for what you do and how it impacts our customers. By understanding our customers, having a servant's heart mindset, and taking responsibility for our impact, we will deliver an exceptional customer experience. Pursuit of excellence. Our final cultural belief is a relentless pursuit of excellence. The outcome will be delivering elite results. The three key behaviors that drive this belief are: be relentless, have a get better mindset, provide solutions not excuses, find a way, embrace change, innovate, and execute. You are now part of a professional family that is committed to delivering elite results every day. Our relentless pursuit of excellence drives the first three beliefs. The first three beliefs then, when executed correctly, deliver excellence. Consistently executing these behaviors day in and day out will lead Herzog to becoming an elite organization. You now understand the shared beliefs, behaviors, and outcomes that comprise the Herzog Culture Playbook. Every member of our professional family must understand the role you play in building, promoting, and protecting the Herzog culture. It will be slow, small, and daily. Elite organizations are built over time, not overnight. We will teach you how to focus on what matters and what you can control while ignoring the noise you cannot. We will teach you and coach you how to be an elite member of our professional family who delivers elite results. And most importantly, we will navigate this journey together as we take care of each other and make each other better. Welcome to the Herzog professional family.